What episode are we on here?
5.
5.
5.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Monday afternoon, Bethlehem Golf Club, Bethlehem, PA. 75 degrees, sunny, little breeze, beautiful day. Rapid Fire Golf, episode 5, Mary said of the year. So 5 Mondays since we started already. Always goes by very quickly. Should have a beautiful night here and a lot of wind, good sun. Ready for your golf questions if you haven't been here before. And seen some of the clips. Rapid Fire works. You post your questions, I'll answer them rapidly and continue to work to get through all of them. And then we will rock and roll. If you guys have seen or moving forward, some of these live sessions, rapid fire sessions we do, there's a lot of good stuff that comes out, and I don't think everyone watches these. So I think what Mary and I are kind of been playing around with, you guys have seen, is clips of this, like some of the other people YouTube channels do. Let me know how you guys would like that. If there's a really good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute segment within this hour-long show, if we were just to clip that part and put those up, if you guys would like to see that or hate that or etc. But yeah, everything is good. Monday, we just launched our compression masterclass today. If you guys saw today's video, there's going to be a video a day, every day this week, Monday through Friday, on parts of that masterclass. The compression, I think it's one of the better ones we did. 22 videos, I think almost 2 hours of content on there. What is that, 70 bucks? 77? $77.
Extension, more videos.
Same as little extension, but more videos, yeah. And we will do, I guess I'll just tell them the code right away. So we did do a coupon code for that compression masterclass. It's GOLF, G-O-L-F, which gets 50% off. So it's 77. You type in GOLF in the coupon code. That'll be 50% off if you want that. CogornoGolf.com members do get it for free. And okay, some questions coming in. Here we go. Ronald, hey, Eric, thank you for all your guidance. You're welcome. How do you hit a flighted / stinger into the wind with driver, and is it the same with the remainder of clubs? So one thing I'd say is when you go into the wind with your driver, I wouldn't try and change so much. So I wouldn't try and go nuts with the adjustments. If I'm going into the wind with the driver, I might tee the ball a little bit lower. A lot of people, when they're hitting into the wind, try and add too much speed, which is a mistake with that. I would keep the swing tempo neutral, tee it a little bit lower, and just take a little bit less distance. Kind of keep your same swing. Same thing downwind. People try and kill it too much. I think when a lot of us go off our normal pattern with the wind, we do too much or try and do too much. So I wouldn't do much at all. Potentially tee it a little bit lower. You could hit down on it a little bit more and hit it a little bit lower. Like if I was going to hit a stinger in general or a lower shot, and I just have an 8-iron here, if I was going to go lower, I would go ball more back, grip down a little, ball more back. I would purposely get the club head to hit down on the ball a little bit more, and I would shorten my follow through, feeling as though the club head stays lower than my hand. So if I was going 8-iron, let's say I hit my 8-iron like 160, maybe I'm into the wind, I'm trying to hit like a low 150. I'd grip down, ball back, pressure forward, club head down. I'm going to really feel my lead shoulder and lead hip work down and forward, head work down and forward, and kind of shorten up the follow through, increase the speed a little. And so that would be my flighted shot. And to kind of scale that, like if I hit a full 8-iron, full speed, it might go, you know, maybe 100 feet in the air, like as its apex. A flighted one, you know, I might hit 70 to 80. So it comes down a little bit with that. But with driver, I wouldn't go nuts. Joe, please talk about hitting the right club at the right time, maybe a playing lesson. Yeah, we're flirting with, we went on the course a little today to test it, flirting with some on-course playing stuff, playing lessons, playing vlogs. If you guys have any thoughts on that, if you'd like the on-course stuff or not, you can leave some comments on there. That'll help us. I posted a poll, and it was pretty overwhelmingly positive that you guys want some on-course stuff. And then I put on there, just keep giving me swing mechanics, dude. And I think like 10 or 12% click that. So we might do some on-course stuff. We're playing around with that. How to hit the right club at the right time. You know, I think when you're on the course, you know, I don't think there's any secret there. I mean, you have to know how far your clubs go. And then I think strategy-wise, you're trying to get the ball to the middle of the green as much as possible. 90+, I think, % of all shots end up short of the hole. So when in doubt, and the higher your handicap, the more I'd take the back edge of the green number. So if you have 140 to the pin, 150 to the back, and you're in between, I'd always take the back of the green number and use that and swing a little easier if you need to. Middle of the greens are always good. Play one stock shot pattern, and that's what I would do there. Let's see, Eric. Hey, Eric, what's up? Assuming I have a good wrist conditions at the top, is ulnar deviation necessary? Yes. If yes, then when should I start ulnar deviating? So Eric, I think one thing to keep in mind is what's the correct answer on paper, and then what do you need to feel? What you need to feel is the part that's always not always black and white. I have to see your swing, but technically speaking, like if let's look at ulnar deviation is unhinging, right? Unhinging. So if I look at a normal pattern, when I start my swing here, it's quite a bit unhinged, right? At the setup position, it's not fully unhinged, but it's pretty unhinged. Let's assume by the time I get to the top of my backswing that it's about 90 degrees. So the angle between my left arm and the club is 90, halfway back, and then maybe at the top. And then when I start down to left arm parallel, let's assume it's still about 90. So really when it's happening, the majority of it is from this left arm parallel through to impact. By the time you get to impact, it's pretty darn unhinged, right? And so you're not trying to hold hinge here. So I would say for most people, it's happening, the majority of it, not right away from the top, but from about that lead arm parallel into impact. So now again, do you need to feel that or not is a different ballgame. Most people, I would say, do better feeling the flexion extension part and what you need to feel with that. But do you need to feel unhinging? If you need to get the face more close to the path, more draw pattern. So if I wanted to unhinge my lead wrist more, my club face with that is going to close. So for me, more unhinging and getting the handle a little bit higher would kind of work into a push draw pattern. And you could feel that unhinging a little bit more into the follow through. And so it's you know, most people are feeling that later in the downswing. Frank, what's up, dude? I think you're coming down in the next couple of week or so. I think I saw you on there. Okay, is the twist away a gradual move, or is the twist something happening right from the takeaway? Yeah, it's a good question. It's not the same for everyone. People do the twist in different spots. You know, so if you look at this past week, Daniel Berger won, not the best looking, you know, backswing. Xander Schauffele was right up there, right? Justin Thomas, Rory, they're not all twisting the shaft the same way, nor do they have the same wrist conditions, nor do they have the same club face angles, etc. If you watch them all during the late downswing, they look very similar, right? Their body motions are very good, their pivot's good, swing direction, etc. But the twist away should be happening gradually. And in reality, you know, not everyone needs to twist it. Really, I talk about the twist away in the face so much because as I look up and down the range, as I walk up and down the range and teach in person, Frank, if you were to come, or the members on Cogorno Golf, I see open club face a lot. And I still see them a lot, right? So it's a twist away is just a way to do it. Checkpoints I like to see are the club face tilted down in line with the back line at takeaway. By the pec line, I'd rather see the face a little more towards the camera than away from you, a little more towards the sky than away from you, a little more towards the scammer than away from you, and then on the way down. So the answer is it's gradual. Having said that, some people might feel like you twist away to start the backswing. So you might feel like, hey, I curl it under right away, and I just kind of set it and forget it, and I hit from there. And that can work fine. Other people might feel like they twist kind of gradual up to the top. Some people might feel like they don't twist at all, then they twist at the top. Some people might feel like they twist to start down. And I think all of those options are doable. I think it depends on the person's pattern. So it's kind of more gradual. Seems like the full swing, it can happen later. Yeah, it can happen later for sure. So if you're like neutral, and then you want to twist to start down, so increase lead wrist flexion, increase trail wrist extension. And as you're doing that, twist your lead hand in your palm back towards the camera and twist the face towards the camera. And you're doing it like behind you. You're doing it behind you. I think we have a video that'll be out next week on that. We did a video last week on twisting it and how to keep it behind you when you do it, which should be out probably next week. Trey, is it possible / advisable to fade draw the ball with a completely neutral setup by simply manipulating your hands through impact? You can. I would say, Trey, even though constantly when I watch on TV, and Nick Faldo in particular, talks about guys curving the ball into pins. In my 15 years of doing this, which isn't as long as Nick Faldo, and he was a better player than me, don't see really good players curving the ball both ways often. Just don't see it. I see a lot of really good players, and when you track their shots, curve the ball one way with basically all the clubs. Some people draw the irons, fade the driver, with all the irons basically the same curve, and it's very tight and small, and very rarely do they go away from that stock ball pattern. Like if a guy draws a ball 2 yards, they're going to draw like every one of them. Having said that, if you were going to start to change curves and that works for you, which is fine, I would do it more through setup. So I wouldn't advise manipulating hands. Having said that, if Bubba came in to me and he said, hey, Eric, here's how I do curves. Do you think that's good? I'd say, no, I think that that's not going to be good. But for you, Bubba, you make it work great. And so you keep it. Don't change anything. Would I advise that style for everyone? No, I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't advise Phil Mickelson's hinge and hold style chipping. Works great for him, would never change it. I wouldn't advise Brant Snedeker's pop stroke, but I wouldn't change his. But for most people and for us here, I wouldn't curve it with my arms and hands as much. If I in like fantasy land, set up square ball normal, made a swing, the ball flew dead straight every time, which is fantasy land. Let's assume that's straight. If I wanted to hit a fade, I would aim my feet left. So let's say I'm hitting like a 10-foot fade. I'd aim my face, let's say 5 yards left of the target, 15 feet. I'd aim my feet 30 feet left. So I kind of double it. So if this is square, I'd go face 15 feet left, or 5 yards feet, 30 feet left, 10 yards. And I'd just swing my normal swing along my feet line. And that would be my fade motion. So that ball faded. That was kind of good. I should start doing that. That ball faded probably perfectly. But I don't hit that shot normally. Now, if I wanted to go draw, if this was all normal, I would get my face pointed about 5 yards to the right and get my feet about 10 yards to the right. So same sort of thing, and then do my draw pattern. I mean, on the range, I'm like superstar. So that's how I would do it. I'd aim the face where I want to start and aim the feet right or left of that. That would be what I would say as a stock answer to that, and work from there. This isn't so rapid fire tonight, is it? This is like long answer live Q&A. Jim, where are your arms and hands located when you start to extend into the follow through? So where your arms extend in the follow through, first things first, is different relative to pivot and club face, meaning the more closed the club face and the more rotation you have, the more your arms are going to extend towards the target. So the more closed the face or the more body turn, your arms are going to extend out more at the target. That'll be like a DJ type of pattern, Victor Hovland. The more open your club face is, or the less rotation, your arms are going to extend more kind of 45 degrees past the target. That'll be neutral rotation. If the face is really open or you have a super weak grip, not good rotation, your arms will extend more at the ball. I think 45 degrees past it or at the target would be advisable for most, especially if we can get the club face more towards square. And so that's kind of the deal. And the follow through, the goal is to have the arms, when the arms are parallel to the ground, the butt of the club's far away from the body, the shoulders have fully turned, hips are probably not quite turned, and the club is down your heel line. So arms extended, club down your heel line, the club face kind of matches your spine line, arms extended, club matches spine line, down my heel line, shoulders and chest are basically fully square by that point. Jim, we did a video called, I think it's called The Perfect Follow Through, how to perfect your follow through, that goes through all that if you want to watch that. Robert, what's up, man? I've enjoyed the recent clips, but the whole program is a great hour on a Monday. Oh, thank you. Any change to Cogorno anti-steep practice station when using a driver fairway metal? So thank you on that. We're going to play around with some clips up. We'll see as it goes. Any change to the thing? No, but Mary, is there any way you could grab my driver back there for a second? Sorry. The only thing that changes is the angle of the stick. It must go lower per the club. So the recipe is, thank you, sorry about that. The recipe is to always have the stick just under the club when it's parallel to the ground. So like any club I use, I would put the club right down my toe line. So the club's parallel to the ground. It's right down my toe line. I would put the stick about 2 to 3 inches above that. So that'll be about on this angle, right, for these. Now, if I had a shorter club, say like an 8-iron, I'd take my setup, I'd put the club down my toe line, parallel to the ground, down my toe line, and I'd angle the stick just above that. Now, that's going to change height a little bit because the clubs are longer. I'm going to stand taller with a wood than I would with an iron, but that's the checkpoint regardless of the club for all of them. Okay, Roman, what's up? Thank you for all your help. You're welcome. Doing a great job. Thank you. Could you tell me why I'm still hitting some shanks occasionally? I'm a handicap is 8. I can't, Roman, unfortunately, I can't tell you why you're doing that. I have to see your swing video. So something specific like this, why you hit it, there's just too many variables I'd have to see. Could be bad setup, balance points are off and you're adjusting. Could be standing too close or far away from the ball. Could be a swing direction issue you try and fix. Could be extending too far past the ball. There could be a lot of reasons. So if you don't get that sorted, go over to joincogornogolf.com. It's 49 bucks a month. You can post your swing videos up, and I could see it from there. There's just too many variables. One thing I'd say as a starting point, if you do have shanks, would be I would take your setup position, put an object outside the ball, and this is an old school one, but it works good, and put something that's like more expensive if you really want motivation. You can put it outside the ball like this. So take your setup about an inch from the edge of the club to the bucket. And on your way through, you want to really feel like you're taking your hands, grip, shaft, club, and ripping them left around you. Like you're going to almost hit your left thigh. And you might hit 1 or 2 off the toe when you do it. Now, again, without seeing why you're doing it, that may or may not fix the root cause, but that will sort of fix the end net result of what's going on. And that would be a good drill to start with. So just outside the toe, feel the grip and hands working really far left. Get your lead shoulder left out of the way. So pulling it left. And that would be a nice place to start with. Again, if there's issues happening earlier on, that doesn't completely fix it. It's you making up for something beforehand. Let's see. Got a little crowd in the background. Chris, best way to identify why I'm hitting my driver on the inside of the club, causing high slice with huge amounts of spin. Yeah, the best way in reality is to film it from down the line, face on, and then send it to me. And I'll tell you why it's happening. There's just too many reasons it could be happening. It could be, again, could be posture related, setup posture, could be swing direction, too far inside out, could be early extension. There could be some quick fix things you can do, spray the face, try and hit it on the toe, see what that feels like, try and neutralize your path. You could honestly do the same thing with the object outside the ball, or like a 2x4 outside the ball, or like a box or something to neutralize your path. Maybe you start there. So normal setup position, like there's a freaking wall, like an inch outside the ball. That could be a good starting point. But the reality is it could literally be something as little as like your pressure's a little too far forward on your toes at address. Like it could be something so small like that that I'd have to see that one. Let's see. You're the man. Thank you. Thank you. Shortened my driver shaft. Used to hit a draw consistently. Now I'm hitting a 5 to 10 yard power fade. Really hard to draw the ball now. Same driver. Is it because stiffer or what? Yeah, maybe. You have to check with whoever changed that shaft and check with a club fitter and measure your numbers before and after and see what the actual difference was. There's just too many other pieces. When you shorten it, you're changing swing rate. The stiffness of the shaft changes. It depends on what kind of head you have on there. There's a lot of variables. I would suggest going back to whoever you got your fitting with, because I'm assuming whenever you change it, you did get a fitting and these weren't happening. Like meaning I'm assuming when you're getting your fitting, you either were power fading it and you liked it, or you weren't getting it and this is new. I'd talk with them about the variables they change with your club and go from there. I would really have to see a video of your swing to see if it's a mechanical thing. But if it just changed from your club, obviously it's club related. I would talk with your fitter there, or our fitter, John Hutzler at CogornoGolf.com. See, I'm going to see how many plugs I can put in here. Like, how many times can I say CogornoGolf.com in the thing? Okay, just kidding, kind of. Odin, for a new golfer, are there any swing mechanics you have to start learning, and others that are for better golfers, like what to work on first shot? Yeah. So Odin, one thing I really like, we have 2 videos on YouTube. One we did with Milo Lines out in Arizona, and I believe it's called 3 Steps to Building a Repeatable Golf Swing or something like that. If you search my name and build repeatable golf swing, we did a thing with Milo where you learn how to swing and use your body motions. I like that a lot. The other one I did by myself, which I think might be the same sort of title. It's like building repeatable swing in 3 steps. It teaches you how to square the club face first. So the answer to your question is you have to learn how to square your club face first. Like if I had 100 new golfers standing in front of me and it was just a group class, no specifics, everyone would learn squaring club face first. That'd be a good enough grip, good enough wrist conditions, good enough arm rotation to learn to curve it left. Number 2, they'd learn swing path. So learn how to swing from inside or shallow it. And then number 3, they'd learn body pivot, big enough turn back and through. So club face awareness, swing path, body motions. I like that. If you search my name in Repeatable Golf Swing, it'll take you through the steps. Curve it left, swing from inside, then learn to pivot. Again, it's general, but Is the purpose of having so many different teachers with different styles and even different opinions on your channel just to expose us to a lot of different learning styles? Yeah, so to be frank, there was a lot of different parts of it. One was content for us over the winter, so having enough videos. 2 was us meeting new people, right? 3 was us introducing you guys to different teachers who we thought had something good to say, who are good teachers, who maybe don't have a platform by themselves. 4 was for us to travel and see places and go places we wanted to see. And so there were some selfish reasons for us to do that. And there were some business benefits. And then there were some benefits, I think, for helping everyone on the channel. So it was a little bit of everything. I think we enjoyed it and learned a lot. Learning too, like for me to be able to hang out with other guys that coach and pick their brain, and Mary and I to go to different people and see what they do. So it was really a mix of different things like that. I think if anyone on here is serious about improving, they have or will or have joined or checked out CogornoGolf.com. That's where things are all my thoughts. They're organized, they're sequenced. It's me and our coaches, and it's very boom, 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 boom. So it's not like different opinions. But on YouTube, we're trying to present some different ideas. At the address position, should the club handle be in the center of your belt buckle or slightly forward with a flat left wrist? So it should be forward. So if I look setup position, I like to see the hands inside the left thigh. So here's belt buckle. Here's hands inside left thigh like this. Hands inside left thigh. So there's going to be a little bit of setup shaft lean. It presets the hands slightly forward of the club. That's in one of the compression setup videos that I don't think we ended up putting on YouTube, but it's on there. So hands forward inside left thigh. If you search my name and PGA Tour Backswing, I go through the setup checkpoints and backswing checkpoints, and that'll kind of talk you through all those pieces. Let's see, at the address position. Okay. Greg, what's up, buddy? So still working on the backswing pieces, huh? More of an upright backswing, deeper with more body turn. Amazing how much I need to exaggerate just to get into ideal positions. Helps with my across the line position. Did you find that as well? Yeah, I think the same thing from last time. I think, Greg, with the, and I know your swing, obviously we worked together on the swing pieces, but you asked about the weak grip and how that affects things. Do I think that helping across the line? So have I found that a more upright helps with across the line? Well, it depends on what you do with your wrist conditions. So that'll affect it. Shoulder rotation, internal, external will affect it, right? Forearm rotation will affect it. So those are really the 3 main ones. So I have forearm rotation, which is thumb up or thumb down. That'll make the club go across the line or this way. I've got shoulder rotation, which would be like this way, right? This way. So I have external, internal rotation, external. That'll make it go across the line. And then I have wrist conditions, more cupped, more cross, more bowed, more laid off. So there's multiple variables there. Do I think a more upright piece or turn? No, not necessarily. I think it depends on those other pieces too. For you in particular, right? It's the grip, it's the wrist conditions, it's you matching all the pieces, but it's not one-to-one, like turn more or go more upright. That'll automatically fix it. It depends on wrist condition, shoulder rotation, arm rotation. How do you work with players looking to increase ball speed? Is there a structured approach? So yes and no. I think when you increase ball speed, you can look at it like, what are the general principles someone should work on? And then why does that individual person not have more ball speed? Like someone might not have ball speed because their swing speed's not fast enough, and you could work on that. And then why is their swing speed not fast enough? Could be multiple reasons. They might not have enough ball speed because they're not hitting it compressed and they don't know how to de-loft it. They might not be hitting the center of the face, right? Because there could be multiple reasons why the ball speed's low. That's very much individual to the person. But then there's some movement patterns in terms of swinging the club better, right? I think learning how to use your body would be step 1. And so if I were to train speed stuff, you know, I like the Milo approach. I like learning first how to get the club from hip high to hip high with speed, with feeling like there's no arms and hands and all body. Like, I think that's a really good place to start. Can I learn how to make the club move back and through, feeling like my arms and hands are dead, and just body motions? I like that a lot. And the second piece, and I would do a video on this at some point, there's a guy named Chase Duncan who's in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I just sent him a message. He does this flips drill thing that I've been watching. I want to do a video about that is awesome. And it really trains in the speed pieces. And what it is when you make a backswing, you go back to about hip high from here like this, no arms and hands. And then you feel the body motion. You're trying to create as much speed as you can with the body, with the arms and hands from there. So it's when you go back, the right arm doesn't fold at all and you don't hinge at all. So it's like as much width as possible. And as soon as you reach halfway back, you step and you go. And that's the sensation. So right arm long, no hinge, and then you go with the body motions. And I like that a lot. So it's right arm, no hinge, halfway back. And then I start pivoting with my body motions and start going. Let's try one. And so I like that to build speed a lot, and learning how to transition pieces need to work. Right arm doesn't bend, wrists don't hinge. And I'm trying to create as much speed from there into my follow through as I can. Like I hit that. Honestly, I hit my 8-iron. I don't know how long. It probably went longer than I thought. I hit my 8-iron 160. That ball went like 150 with that same thing. So right arm doesn't bend, no hinge, create as much speed into the full follow through. And me learning how to pivot from that little short backswing and create that change of direction, I think creates a lot of speed. So I would look at those pieces, but again, it depends on why the person doesn't have ball speed. Is it contact? Is it swing speed? Why is it? That could be their grip is too weak, you know? Could be wrist conditions, could be body motions, could be lack of turn, could be swing direction. So it all depends. I think the more, like everything needs to be specific. And therein lies like the whole reason we built Cogorno Golf, the whole reason it's a little bit of a struggle with some of the YouTube videos. It has to be specific. Two people could be getting the same exact error, shanks, for 20 different reasons. You know, like 20 people could line up and say, hey, I hit slice, and all 20 of them have something slightly different, or et cetera. One other thing I know I mentioned before, Compression Masterclass is up and live. Coupon code GOLF, G-O-L-F, 50% off that Compression Masterclass, 22 videos, 2 hours. Very good stuff. I think it's one of our best masterclasses. Alexander, hello, Eric. I'm suffering from too much internal shoulder rotation in the backswing. Is that what makes it hard for me to stay in my spine inclination at the top? My shoulder's a little too flat. So if you have internal shoulder, I'm assuming you mean trail shoulder. Internal shoulder rotation would be this way, and you're standing up and going this way. I would say the body motions is what's causing that shoulder motion, not the other way around. So like if I have a hard time staying in posture and standing up, usually you're gonna have some, maybe you have some trail shoulder mobility issues like I do. Like I have some spine problems and I have some shoulder mobility issues. So that could be a mobility issue, but I don't think you're having trouble with the body motions because of the trail shoulder. That sounds to me like a movement pattern issue or a range of motion issue that's kind of causing those pieces. So I really have to know more, Alexander, to kind of suggest any kind of fix, what the contact issue is, what the ball flight, et cetera, et cetera. But that to me sounds like a movement pattern issue. I would probably work with a coach or a physical therapist to kind of go through that part first. Dean, can you still play good got? Okay. Dean. Can you still play? Okay. Can you still play good golf hanging back? Yes. I have a bad knee and cannot transfer most of my weight to the front foot. Yes, you can. You most likely need to put the ball more back in your stance, and you need to feel like you swing more to the right. So the issue with you having the ball or hanging back is, number one, if the ball's too far back, like this, or if I'm hanging back, sorry, if I'm hanging back too far, my low point's too far back, and I'm going to swing too over the top. So the more back I am, the more over the top I am, the more forward I am, the more to the right I am. So those are your two issues if you hang back. Low point will be back, and your swing will be more over the top. So to counteract that, what I would do is move the ball back, keep the hands forward, inside left thigh, move the ball back, and as you start down, you're definitely going to need to feel like you swing the club head more from inside. So more this way. So if you're hanging back, you're going ball back, hands stay forward, and more from in to out with the club path. And you can still play, actually hit that pretty good. You could still play a draw pattern from there, or learn to lean into your lead side earlier, right? So ball back, kick the swing direction more to the right, or when you're coming down, learn how to lean into this more so you can get your swing direction a little more from inside. But that'd be how you'd play with hanging back. Ball back, swing direction more right to neutralize. Doug, any idea what caused low heel strikes with my driver? Luckily, most of the time it's not there, but I never know when it's going to happen. Now, I really don't, because there's too many possible reasons. It could be a setup issue, could be backswing issue, could be swing direction issue, could be body pivot issue. You could be aimed wrong. I mean, there's just so many variables that it could be. Again, you could try and quick fix it with like a wall outside the ball type of thing, but there's just too many things. Your shoulders could open too quick, and that makes you tilt, and then you adjust with swing direction. I mean, there's like layers of things that could be causing it. So something specific like this, Like, why do I hit it on the toe? Why do I hit it on the heel, etc.? I really have to see your swing. So if you don't get that sorted, again, you can join CogornoGolf.com, do the $49 a month, send in your swings, get feedback from myself and the coaches once a month. But it's just too many variables. Jeff, please explain anterior tilt and how you go about getting it. So anterior and posterior tilt. So I'm assuming you're talking pelvis. I can either tilt my pelvis, if here's my belt buckle line like this, I can tilt my pelvis up, or I can tilt my pelvis back this way. So anterior tilt would be tilting my butt up like this. So my belt buckle would go down, my back of my belt line or my butt would go up like this. We did a video about this called Advanced Rotation. Jeff, if you want to watch it, it'll be more in depth than what I'm going to do in rapid fire. I don't think that you really need to, I don't think that's something that you train in probably all that much, especially as time goes on. I think that more and more and more. But the idea would be, as I start my setup, if I'm going to be fairly neutral here, fairly neutral on the way back, and I'm going to be slightly anterior tilting as I start my downswing, in theory, would help the rotation pieces. So that would feel like you're anterior tilting, right? You'd feel like from the top, your belt buckle starts to go down towards the ground. So if it points here in general, hey-oh, it starts to point down this way, or my like back of my butt tail line starts to go up to the top, PG-13, like this, as I start down. It'd really be like that, right? So it'd be up to the top, belt buckle points more steeply down, which notice as I'm doing that, I'm not only anterior tilting, but my pelvis is going back, and my back line, if I had a cup on here or line, starts to tilt up towards the sky. So that'd sort of be the sensation. Belt buckles up to start, stays up, tilts down. Belt buckles up to start, stays up, tilts down. That felt good. Take everything I say back about that. Let's definitely start doing that in transition. So it's theoretically, you add the anterior tilt, pelvis depth, right side bend goes along with that. So you really do those two motions together. You do the anterior tilt and right side bend with turn, right? Anterior tilt, right side bend with turn. Jeff, that's how I would start that. Belt buckles up and under me, stays up and under me, tilts down towards the ground. Belt buckle up and under me, tilts down towards the ground. Yeah, those feel good. I can still feel my swing direction's a little too far to the right, but work in progress. Mo Norman must have lived in fantasy land then. I tell you what, you watch Mo Norman and you could tell in a second he did live in fantasy land. That's exactly right. Straight balls all day. He was out of his mind, that man. Shane, any setup tips you have for, if one person did live in fantasy land, it was Mo Norman. Any setup tips you have for curing a leak? Not quite a slice, but everything leaking a bit. Yeah, so things you would look for would be making sure the ball is not too far forward. You want to make your shoulders square or slightly closed. So I would say one thing to try would be pull your right shoulder back and get your right arm more bent and under. So if this is normal, pull my right shoulder back behind me more and bend my right arm underneath me so you can see my left arm. This would be more draw setup. So normal, right shoulder back, right arm under. This would be more draw. So it feels like shoulders are closed, right arm under. This would be the draw motion. So that would be, you know, just setup pieces. Make sure the ball's not too far forward, right? Let's see. Josh, are you able to release the club more? Are you able to release the club more with a more neutral weak grip? So it depends on how you define release, right? Some guys talk about release as in this is releasing it with the unhinge. Some guys talk about release this way. Some guys talk form rotation. So it depends on how we define that. But basically the weaker the grip, the more you have to flex or bow your lead wrist or bend back your right wrist to get the face square. And it just depends on where you do that. So if this is my weak grip, to get the face square, I have to tilt it down. I got to tilt it down. I got to flex my lead wrist, bow my left wrist. If I had a stronger grip, I don't have to tilt that down at all. It's already there. It's already there. Weaker grip, I got to flex and bend, flex and bend. So you have to do that more with your wrist conditions and or more lead arm supination. So I did a post on Instagram today. Those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, at Eric Cogorno, a lot of plugs. And it was talking about this, the face. The face angle works like anything. I open a door, right? I close a door. If I open a door a lot, I got to close it a lot. So like you always have to close the face. The idea would be getting the face more square on the way back and earlier, getting it more square earlier on the way down, theoretically easier because I don't have to close it as late. If you have a weaker grip, you got to flex it more You can do it earlier or later, flex it more here. If your face is more open, you got to curl it down late with supination. Your face is open, you want to curl it down late with supination. Or you're going to flip. I'd rather you curl it down late with supination. Or get the face more square earlier, and then you don't have to do anything. You can keep the lead shoulder more internal, elbow at the target, not have to do much. So yes, weaker grip, more arm rotation, probably more shoulder rotation, not necessarily. 100%, absolutely. And wrist condition. So if you got a weaker grip and you bow and you bow this and extend this enough, then you don't have to add as much of the supination piece. So it's all depends. That could be a common answer. I could probably answer every question with it all depends. That'd be a lot of fun. Daniel, can you give me a drill on how to go higher with arms instead of around too much? Yeah, so the reality is you don't need a drill as much as you need to put a camera behind you and have checkpoints, watch your swing, and then exaggerate more. What I mean is this: if I took a normal setup and you said, hey, I go too flat, well, where should I go? You should go down your toe line, through your pec or bicep, and then up over your shoulder. Now, if you watch yourself and you go too low this way, if that's too low for you, always the fix is the opposite. Like, always the fix is the opposite. Always the fix is the opposite and exaggerated. Opposite and exaggerated. So if you're too low with your arms, you need to feel more up. You need to feel the arms lift more as you turn. If I just did like a normal swing with my arms and I did no lift and just body turn, my arms would go about here. Now that doesn't look right, does it? My arms need to lift quite a bit on the way back to get to neutral. So if I just left my arms normal, I had no lift and just body turn, they go way too low. I need the lift motion. So the lift feels like this. Feels like as you go back, they're lifting this way. I watched, who's the dude who won the Masters? He works with Sean Foley now. He had a real no turn, Danny Willett. And he was on Instagram doing his backswing changes, and he was real low and short with no turn. And his exaggerations, he looked like this. And then when he made a real swing, he looked normal. So what you need to do is feel that. And when you hit, if you're still too low, then you just did not exaggerate enough, right? So you need to go slower and exaggerate more. So your practice swing, if you're this way, your practice swing needs to be like this. And then you go slow to the point where you can actually hit the checkpoint. So I hit that, I walk back. I probably grab my Live View Golf, plug number 27. And I probably use coupon code EC Golf for that and save 40 bucks. This will be my new game with myself. Like, how many plugs can I get in 1 hour? And then, no, all kidding aside, I watch myself from down the line and say, wow, that was still too flat. Well, then you didn't go upright enough. That's it. No more complicated than that. So the next one, you got to go upright more exaggerated, go slower, more exaggerated, go slower, more exaggerated, go slower, to the point where you actually make a swing where you go up enough, and that's how much you need to feel it. Of course, there's other tricks. Like, I could give you a million different feels to do that, but that's kind of the real deal there. You are hands down one of my favorite YouTube teachers. Thank you, sir. I'm assuming, sir, maybe not. Keep up the great work and thanks for everything you do. You are very welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Daniel, when I go around, I feel like my arms barely get to shoulder level. Yes, that'd be the same as above there. Brian, you finished on your left heel at the end of your follow through better than most pros. Thank you. What are your 1-2 things you stress I need to do? I'm assuming, Brian, you mean in terms of like, how do you get on your left heel? I don't think about that. So I don't ever tell myself to get on my left heel. That for me just happens as a byproduct of my rotation, probably some physical limitations in terms of my movement. But if you watch good players, and we did a video called, I think it was called How the Left Foot Works in the Golf Swing, where I talk about this in more depth, Brian, which might help. But when I work through, the idea is to go middle of my feet, my left foot, slightly inward. So my ankle rolls in a little and towards my toes. And then as I start down, I want to replant. And then as I'm turning, I'm going to roll on the outside of it. And even it's okay if it twists open or pulls back some in terms of speed creation. So those would be some feels. If you search my name in left foot, it'll go through that a little bit more. Ryan, what's up, man? Just like you, am a bit of a superstar in a range. Yeah. Any tips more mentally how to bring my range game to the course? Yeah, 100%. So we'll do a video soon. How you bring your range game to the course is 2 things. 1, if you practice 3 times a week and play once a week, you will always be better in the practice. Why, right? Because you did it 3 times versus 1. If you study Spanish 3 days a week and study French 1 day a week, which will you be better at? Spanish, right? That's simple. But for some reason, we think we should be better on the course or equally as good. We don't do it as much. So most people I see hit balls more than play. That's one problem. You should spend your time 50-50. So if I spend 2 days playing, I'm spending 2 days practicing, something like that, right? That's one. Two is you have to make your practice more similar to the course in terms of consequences. How do you do that? I would practice in 4 phases for everyone on here, regardless of skill level. There's another video that will come out with soon, a new practice thing. You should do 20 balls, wedges warm up, 2 to 30, 2 to 40, 2 to 50, 2 to 60, 2 to 70, 2 to 80, 2 to 90, 100, all the way up to your full pitching wedge. 2 balls each one. You got to warm up anyway. And that way you double down on your wedge distance control, compound into that adds up. Wedge warm up, 20 balls. The second thing you should do is swing mechanics, whatever you're working on. That's video, training aid. Don't care where the ball goes. Work on just your swing. That's part 2. Part 3 is where you start to transfer this, which is grids. So you got your ball, you got your target, let's say 100. You pick a secondary grid. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here. We've watched from last week. You pick a secondary grid, let's say 20 feet to the right. If you draw it, all the balls got to start within there, start right, curve left, and finish in the grid. Start with a sand wedge, 1 ball in the grid. If it goes in, move up a club. If it doesn't, stay at your club and keep moving up. Now, what did you just do there? You added a consequence. When you hit balls in the range and you hit a bad shot, no consequence. On the golf course, you hit one, consequence always. The difference between the range and the course is that there's a consequence, and that's it. That's it. That's it. It's a different environment and it's a different consequence. I always give this in the Cogorno Golf group, and it's maybe not the best example, but if I said to myself, hey, Eric, take a step forward, that's incredibly easy for me to do. Step forward. Now, if I put myself on the top of a 10-story building and there's sidewalk down there and I say, take a step forward, my brain would never let me do it. Why? Because there's a consequence. It's the same exact things with this. So you do the grids with the irons, work your way up. That's how you figure out what feel you're going to use that's going to transfer on the course. And then you do the same thing with a driver. Maybe not the same ball flight, but you find a grid. I used to make myself do 10 in a row within a grid. And if you can do 10 in a row and practice with the driver, the golf course is a joke, right? So make the practice with consequences. Even the time on the range with the golf course. If you practice 3 times as much as the course, you will be better on the range all the time. That's how it works. Let's see here. And I'm just kind of kidding about the range thing. Like realistically, when I go on the course, usually I hit it just as good in the course as the range. Putting, I need a little work. But I'm going to work on it. What belt when you're playing golf? I don't know. I have this, if you mean this belt, like I'm wearing clothing wise, this is, I don't even know what this is, to be honest with you. I just got a Nike gray belt. But nothing, I've got no brand loyalty there, just whatever. What changes do you make to squeeze an extra 5 to 10 yards with an iron, but don't want to club up IG, tuck pin, or firm green? What changes do you make to squeeze an extra 5 to 10 yards carry with an iron? I would not do that, but don't want to club up. Yeah, so I just straight up wouldn't do that. That's the answer to that. I would never do that. I would club up. I would hit it to the middle of the green. If you got a tucked pin with a firm green, you should be hitting to the middle of the green. No one here is good enough to start tucking pins, going after tuck pins with firm greens. No one on the planet's good enough to even do that. Like middle of the green, middle of the green, middle of the green. Don't try and get more out of your club. Take more, work your grids to the point where they're easy, and hit that shot middle of the green. What are your thoughts on swaying in the backswing and initiating the downswing? So if you search my name and how the hips work, and search my name and eliminate sway, the thing you should do is get a chair or an object and put it in just outside your trail leg like this, and you should feel your right hip. People who sway don't turn. Just like downswing, people who slide don't turn. It's just the same thing, but on the way back. So you eliminate slide or sway with turn. So chair or object here, learn how to turn your trail hip or right hip behind it as you start your backswing. That's how you eliminate sway. You don't need any other drills than that. That's the best one. Chair outside the leg. I think the hips work in the golf swing was the most recent video we did where I talk about that in depth. Initiating the downswing is very dependent on what you're doing on the way at the top. So that depends. But in terms of here like this, here, ideally you start your downswing like that X Factor video. So I'm just going to give you videos. The hips one, we'll do the backswing one and watch the X Factor. That's how you start down. Or search my name and starting the downswing with Milo. We did a lower body video, upper body video, and a club body video. So search my name, how to start the downswing, watch those 3 videos we did with Milo, and then do the hip one with the chair. That'll explain all that. Do those Tour Striker irons really help like they say? You're talking Martin Chuck's Tour Striker like club face thing? Is that what I think the club face? It has like literal irons. We haven't seen I don't know. I have never hit any irons other than that training aid thing he had, which I think was fine. I think it's a miracle worker, you know. I think if you have swing mechanic things you got to work on, there's no training aid in the world that's going to completely do them. You need to discipline video. Mary and Eric, Ross Fisher. What's up, Ross? Been working hard. Mary says hi. We're working on shoulder/hip rotation drills, but also watching distance masterclass. Awesome. Thank you. And you note the importance of feet/feeling pressure shift. Will this help rotation? It can. So in terms of pressure shifting during the backswing and follow through, kind of the like 101 version is the more your weight goes towards your toes on the way back, the less you can turn. The more your weight goes towards your right heel, the deeper you can turn. On the downswing, the more you go towards your toes and stay on your toes too long, less turn. More you can go toes early as long as you go heel late. You can go toes early, heel late, but the more you're back on your heels. It's like if I stood up like this and I want to get hip depth, my pressure would always go back towards my heels. Getting the depth as you turn are the keys. It's depth and turn. So heels more turn, toes less turn is the like simple version. What changes in swing from say a 56 degree to versus a 9 iron? I'm having problems making clean contact with the wedges, yet hitting irons really well. Yeah, not a lot. In terms of the clubs, because there's always like what literally changes if I was taking a written test and we were making measurements versus like what do you need to feel in your swing change? Whatever swing feels you have with a full swing 9 iron should be basically the same with a full swing wedge. So like it shouldn't change. Your full swing 5 iron feel should be basically the same as your 8 iron, basically the same as your wedge. 1 or 2 feels through the whole bag. And then you basically change setup to make the adjustments. So the only things that I would say in terms of wedges, unless you're talking like 30, 40, 50 yards, if it's full swing, your feet are just a little bit closer, and that's kind of it. Like what you're doing is the same. You're going to have less tilt, right? So the feet are closer, the ball is still pretty neutral, and then you're going to have less tilt. So maybe you level out your shoulders. I'd have to see. I mean, it depends on why it's happening. If you're talking wedges, 30, 40, 50, 60, half swings, etc., that's a different ball game. So let me know if that's what you're talking about. We have a bunch of videos that are really long, full videos on YouTube on wedges, wedge masterclass. We got a bunch of that. You can search here and watch. Jim, thanks for the answer. You're welcome, my friend. Where does the body start to rotate into extension? So the extension's really happening pretty early during the downswing, but with rotation, it makes it happen later. So here's my normal setup. So flexion, extension. Here's flexion, here's extension. So at my setup, I'm flexed forward. During my backswing, I'm extended. During my downswing, I'm reflexed. From about here, halfway down, hips, depending upon the player, from about left arm parallel to hands about hip high, I'm in forward flexion. From here now, I'm losing my forward flexion and going into extension. From here forward, I'm going this way. But I don't just go like this and this way. I go like that and turn. So I'm extending and turning. So really, Jim, the thing for you, like that hip video, if you put the chair out here in front of you, you're trying to get your belt buckle to hit the chair. Now, I can't do that through just turn, can I? I can't do that through just extension, can I? I can do that through turn and extension. That was a little gold nugget there, a little line, a little Instagram clip. If I have a chair out here, I can't do, I want to get my belt buckle to the chair left of the target. I can't do that by just turn. I can't do that with just extension. I can do that through turn and extension. Boom. So that's the deal. That's the deal with that, Jim. It's from about hip high and downswing into the follow through is where you go from forward bending. So from here through, you're going into extension as you turn. And that's fairly universal. Fairly universal. Jeff, consistently measure 5 degrees open and impact with the putter. That's a problem. What mechanic should I work on a better square putter face? 5 degrees to the right's a lot, dude. So I would check the measuring device first. Like if you're 5 degrees to the right on like a 10-footer, 15-footer, you're like way right. That's like me. So I would do things to start with. Yeah, it depends on the putter fitting. It depends on your setup, your grip. I'd have to see these things, Jeff. There's not one answer. It depends on a lot of things. I would start with a thing like a string line over the ball or a chalk line to see your eyes can train on a straight line. I don't really care where you stand. You don't have to be eyes over the ball. You can be eyes inside the ball. But for you to have this like the stick, a chalk line or string line, and seeing a straight line would be the first part. And doing some kind of gate drill, the start line drill with tees in front. Those would be the pieces. We just filmed a putting masterclass that'll probably come out like next month sometime. That'll go through these things if you want to wait for that. I think that'll probably be less expensive. That'll probably be like a $30, $40 thing. But you got to train to see a straight line. In terms of mechanics, Jeff, I'd have to see. You have to send me some putting videos. Matt, where am I at here? Matt, can you explain the Duval flip-flop? I like that. Release, Mike Austin style. So, yeah, the good answer to this question is if you watch myself and Kevin, we were out in Pebble Beach and we did a video called the twist versus throw release. Twist versus throw. That'll kind of give you the The thing, yeah, which Steve Pratt used to saw it. So like the deal is this. If you want to throw it more, okay, so notice David Duval. Lots of throw past the ball. What did his club face look like? Notice Dustin Johnson. Lots of throw past the ball. What does his club face look like? Notice Victor Hovland. Lots of throw past the ball. What did his club face look like? Notice Kalamiya Kawa. His lot of throw past it. What does his club face look like? The guys and gals who play, whose club face is more closed, like David Duval, will throw it more because that's what matches up. Think about when you throw the club like this, you don't have to twist it at all to square the club face. Guys and gals who have a more neutral club face, like a Patrick Reed, they're gonna twist it more to get the face square. David Duval had a very closed club face, and then he rotated incredibly well. So from there, he can just let it release. It's like the Alaska videos we did. If your face is in line and ready, you can just release the club like this. Now there's two humongous caveats to an amateur golfer doing that. What are they? The club face has got to be square earlier to do that. It's got to be tilted down at last parallel. It's the only way you can do that. And you must turn and pivot well. So there's 112 people on here right now. If we're being honest with ourselves, how many of the 113 people here have the face tilted down and have a great pivot to the point where they can just throw it? What percentage? It's not high. It's not high. And so what do we need to do? We either need to get into that position so we can throw it, or we got to learn how to take that open club face and curl it under more. We got to learn how to do other things to make up for it. But that's the whole deal with the throw. You can only throw. Never seen a good golfer throw this way without a club face tilted down and a great pivot. Never seen it. If anyone has, you send it to me. I'll look at it. Never seen it. Bazillion swings I've seen on camera. Everyone who throws with a release like that, club face tilted down, good pivot. David Duval included. Great player. Connie, enjoy your teaching technique. Thank you very much. Your chipping video has helped me tremendously. I am glad to hear that. You are very much welcome. New chipping stuff coming soon. We just did some new chipping. A lot of new everything coming soon. For those that are new on here, weren't on here before, plug. Compression Masterclass. We just launched 20 videos, 2 hours. Great masterclass. Change your golfing life masterclass. Coupon code GOLF, GOLF, 50% off. Was 77, limited time only. I actually think I did say it. I think it's like the first 20 people. Not just saying that. I think it's actually the first like 20 people get that. But then it'll be on there anyway. Okay. Eric, beginner here. Thanks for being here. How to get more flexibility for my backswing? How do I get this flipping tour pro like motion release? So how to get more flexibility from backswing and flipping tour like release are just two completely different things. So I'm going to just do the backswing part. How you get a great release is that little rant I just went on, is you got to get your club face square. So watch the videos that I did on club face, how to fix your flip, compression stuff. Watch all that. In fact, honestly, dude, buy that compression thing. Put coupon code GOLF. It's what's half of 77? $38. You're asking, is that right? Genius. It's under 40 because 40 is 80. Okay, hey-o. So, and go through that with the club face stuff. That's how you do the downswing stuff. Backswing, I think there's one drill that just trumps every other drill, and that's why I've been always using it. I'm going to keep using it, is club, object inside your right heel like this, 90 degrees, club across your shoulders. Get this stick and grip at or past that. We just did a driver video, how to drive like the pros videos coming out, and I was looking at all these videos on my laptop of drivers, good drivers the ball and turn. And all them not just turned 90, they turned like 100, 110, 120 degrees with the driver. Big backswing turns. This is to me the best drill. Stick across, stick inside your right leg, stick across your shoulders. This grip goes over that one. Chest is not down, head to the right. Chest shirt buttons up towards the sky. Grip over that, chest up. Grip over that, chest up. Let my right hip work behind me as I'm doing this. Grip over that, chest up, right hip back. Big turn, big stretch. You want to kind of feel the stretch in here, like the middle. A lot of this turn should happen from the mid to upper part of your back, like your thoracic. Big stretch, chest up, big right hip turn. That would be like backswing body motions 101 stuff. What's up, man? You nail these questions in, man. I like that. You take a good advantage of this live hour. Driver club head speed 100 miles an hour. Any way of hitting a towering 5-wood onto a green, all carry over top water. Yeah, again, so Rohit, this would be to me the same thing as like, how do you get extra juice of the irons? That's like, Eric, how should I hit a 2-iron on a downhill lie over water? You don't hit it. You know, you don't hit it. You know, you lay up. So 5-wood, all carry over water. That's a no-go for most of us, unless there's no trouble over the green, and then you play long there. Is it compression? Yes. Club head related? Yes. If you need to get the ball higher, right, to land softer, and you have 100 miles per hour, you either need to raise your speed up somehow mechanically, go to a great fitter, maybe add loft. Maybe the 5-wood should have more loft. Maybe you can tweak the club. Like I would start with club there to get it to launch higher. Go a good club fitter. Like John Hutzler for us, he's down in West Virginia. We can send his information. He's our club fitter. I would go club first and then work mechanics behind there. And I'm not saying don't do that like to be funny or mess around with you. Like I legitimately, like if I was playing across the street and I had 5-wood overboard to a par 5, unless there's nothing over the green, I'm probably not hitting it. And I can shoot even par walking around usually right across the street or shoot a couple under. So Eric, why would with my irons I can't get the ball in the air? Hubert, so depends on what you're saying. If you're not getting in the air because you're topping it or you're hitting it solid, but it's just a lower trajectory. So if you're straight up topping it off there, it's an obvious contact issue. I'd have to see your swing, Hubert. Luckily, you can post that up for us. If it's just going too low, that could be too much or too little dynamic loft, hands too far forward. That could be your upper body. Like for you in particular, when your upper body gets too far forward, right, and you hit too low, the more my head stays back as I push my hips forward, that's going to be a high ball. The more my head goes forward, low ball. So for you, I would bet it's because your upper body's going too far towards the target on the way back or on the way down sometime. Because at your level, I don't think we're talking topping it, but it would be, you need more loft. So for you, I'd say head more back, let the club head throw. Head more back, let the club head throw a little so you have more loft. And that'll be shallow angle of attack with more loft. To get the ball to go higher, more loft and shallower angle of attack. Frank, what's up? Notice DeChambeau really exaggerated the vertical takeaway and under the swing plane. Looked like the Marty Nowicki move. Yeah, so I saw him doing that too. I don't know if that's because he was missing a little and trying to fix it. His old move with his clubs, right, all one length and his shaft more upright, his whole deal was to kind of up and down the same plane. It looks as though he's kind of going up and under a little more. I posted another thing on Instagram. That's at Eric Cogorno Golf on Instagram, where they were showing the traces on PGA Tour, the club head going up and down, and always on the way down, it's lower. Like every great driver of the golf ball I've seen, if they have a neutral backswing plane, so whatever plane, if you trace this club head up, they come down slightly underneath that, every one of them, unless they have a different backswing plane. Like if they're like a Sam Snead or other players, if they go under early, then they're obviously going to come over it. Or Rory if he goes out under. But if you got a neutral backswing, they're all coming under playing the downswing. Usually not a lot, but some amount. On initial transition, do you feel a pushing into the lead side glute or front heel? When focusing on front side of the lead foot, I'm not to rotate around and hit down with a chunk. So again, you know, there's just too many reasons that might happen. I can't give you a black and white answer. I need to see why that's happening. But in general, when you start down, like the videos we talked about, the general ideas would be from here, you want to feel pressure into the lead foot. Both of the legs are reflexing. My lead shoulder's working down and forward. My head's working down and forward, right? All of this is my belt's one. All this is happening. Do I need to think about all that? No, you need to think about whatever part you're missing, right? So all these things are happening from the top. Full 90 turn, my shoulders stay back for a minute, legs change flex, I'm working down towards the ground, etc. If you're chunking them, maybe you're not working down and forward enough, so you might need to feel your lead shoulder, lead hip working more down and forward. That could be a possibility. You maybe don't have enough chest and shoulder rotation. If you're hitting too far behind, I'd really have to see that one. Send me a video. You can join CogornoGolf.com, $49. Send me in your swing. Craig, what's the most common causes for people who overswing? Is over rotation with the hips, body a big potential one? So the reality, I didn't really show at 59, so I'll try and wrap it through a couple of these. I did a video called 3 Reasons Your Backswing's Too Long and How to Fix Them, Craig. 3 Reasons Your Backswing Too Long, How to Fix Them. That'll go through that. What's up, man? Hey, Eric, thanks for the help on the members website. You are welcome, my friend. Would you keep going slow in the backswing on the course if you notice that it goes back to old habits? If you swing if you swing regular speed. Yes, but no, I mean, like I would keep a constant tempo on the course. I feel like the club head's going back and through at one rate. In practice, you should be really exaggerating. Like for me, I'm lengthening my backswing like you. So when I'm on the course, I definitely feel like my backswing's longer. I feel like it takes a longer period of time and I'm stretching it out. But I don't feel like I'm going much slower, a little bit slower. Feels like my backswing takes longer and I'm really stretching it. You should still exaggerate. Like you have to exaggerate on the course to get what you get on the range, but you don't have to really go slower. Best way to prevent arm run on overswing. Alignment rod under the trail shoulder, like this, all of it sticks out in front of you. When you get to the backswing, when that hits your left arm, stop swinging and start down. We have a video on that called Connection. Search my name and Connection in the swing. It'll show you that.
Did we do one with Ben Pellicani on that too? Sorry.
We did, yeah. So we did how to find like the perfect backswing length with Ben Pellicani down Nashville's a good call, Mayor. So backswing length, transition completing it fully with driver, yes. I have a John Rahm short one. I want to change it, lengthen it then. I love it. What's the best score on a PGA-like course? So I shot 64 probably like 10 times. But those were not on PGA courses. Those were on like muni courses. So maybe like 68, maybe like 68 on like a really tough, legit. But like the courses the PGA Tour players play at the conditions they play, I'm not shooting those 68, right? Like the conditions they play in with the tuck pins and the rough and how far they play in the crowds, like I might shoot 88 before I shoot 68 in one of those. Like it's just such a different game. It's ridiculous. Okay, a couple more real quick ones here in a minute. When rhythm tempo is off a given day, any suggestion to get it back on the heat of the battle? Yeah, not really. I think just like sometimes you're just going to stink for a day and you're just trying to get your tempo. I like same speed back, same speed through. If tempo is a constant problem, Rohit, you're trying to train it like our tempo video, learning how to hit the 8-iron as short as possible, the full swing all the way to full, and finding what tempo works for you. The other thing I do if I'm off is take more club and go shoulder to shoulder. 3/4 swing. Be more conservative when you're off, middle of the greens. I've been working on getting the feel of rotating my lead knuckle back on the backswing. This has gotten my left hand flat or even a little bowed, but now I'm pulling the ball. Any tips to micromanage straight in a ball flight? So I'd have to see your other pieces. It sounds like I would keep doing that and figure out how to fix the pull with either swinging more from inside, so path more to the right, or increase body rotation, move the ball back in your stance, close your shoulders. One of those combinations. I would not change the face being closed. It's a great thing. Fix the other pieces. Difference between your PGZ training and training on your new site. So PGZ, we do training programs with. It's not our site. We do a handful of training programs with them. We like them. But in our site, it's all my stuff. It's just me. It's just our training. You can actually send your, excuse me, swing in for feedback. Donnie, how to stop flipping at impact. Search my name and how to fix a flip. And I will give you a detailed answer about 15 minutes long here right on YouTube. Okay, so we are over our hour. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. We'll be back next Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Compression Masterclass. I don't know if there's a link here. There's a link in the YouTube video posted today. Coupon code's GOLF, GOLF, 50% off just that program. I think it's the first 20 or 25. Anyone who posted a question where I said I need to see your swing, because I meant it, you can do that. www.cogornogolf.com. It's $49 a month. You get swing feedback once a month. So that's all. See you guys next week. Thank you for coming and hanging out.